What's up, sports bettors? It's Matt Modi with OddsJam, and for this video, just doing a little bit of a preview of the Boston Celtics versus Miami Heat. So I'm recording this on Friday, May 20th. The game is being played tomorrow, Saturday, May 21st. Normally, I do these the day of, but I'm out of pocket this entire weekend. My old ass is turning 30, so I'm busy with birthday plans the entire weekend. So I figured I'd come out with this the day before. Hopefully the odds don't change too much over the course of time and you guys can still lock some bets in. Obviously, I've been getting absolutely smoked on my bets recently. I mentioned this in the Warriors-Mavs preview I did earlier, but player props has just been absolutely killing me. Down $660 in the past 7 days, essentially. I'm tracking all of these bets on this spreadsheet and totaling up everything here. Luckily, for everything tracked on the spreadsheet, I'm actually still up. That's mostly because of the rando bets I placed in the competition that Alex and I was doing, which we are no longer doing. We had to cut that one off. And then MLB has been going pretty well for me as well. So it's player props has just been killing me. I'm starting to track NBA as well. I wish I had been doing this sooner because the first 2 rounds was awesome. So I would be up a lot more if I'd started tracking this earlier. But anything going into the NBA is just going to be a game prop, not a player prop. So spread, total, anything like that. So for this Celtics Heat game, obviously all the bets I get from using OddsJam. This page you see on the screen here is completely free. It's just the odds of every single market for every single sports book. So if you want to check out all this stuff, just go to the OddsJam website, go to Sports NBA, click the game, and you can get it. Now, looking at this game, the series is tied 1-1 with both games being blowouts. Game 1, the Heat blew out the Celtics, mostly in that third quarter. They outscored them by 25. The Celtics actually outscored the Heat in every other quarter, but the Heat won the third quarter by 25, and that's all that mattered. Obviously, the Celtics were missing Marcus Smart and Al Horford in that game, so turns out missing 40% of your starting lineup happens to make a really big deal. Who would have thought? So game 2, with those 2 players back, the Celtics just took it to the Heat. Heat got out to an early 10-point lead, and then it was all Celtics from there. At no point did this game even get close. I think the only time it was maybe in question was about halfway through the third quarter. The Heat got it all the way to like 17. That's how close they got it. And maybe it started, you could have become a game. Nope, absolutely not. Did not become a game, not even close. Celtics, I think, got up by 30 by the end of the third quarter, or beginning of the fourth, and that was all she wrote. So just to be honest, I've taken the total going under in both of these games. It's gone over in both of them. We'll see if I like the total again. We'll have to see how it shakes out. I won't say one thing or another. I haven't actually looked into it a ton. But just based on the money line, there really isn't any value here. The OddsJam Perfect Line, which is pulled from the sharpest sportsbook in the world, prices the Heat at plus 237. And there's no book in which we're getting better odds than plus 237. So there's no play on the Heat. And then I'm not touching money line odds as bad as minus 265. And that's the best odds I can get this on WinBet. So I don't think it's worth touching this at minus 265. Looking at the spread, so this is kind of interesting. The spread started with the Celtics minus 6.5. It's been bet now up to Celtics. It started at Celtics minus 5.5. Now it's been bet all the way up to Celtics 6.5. Money is still coming in on the Celtics, so I think that this spread will end closer to 7.5, maybe even 8, if not higher than this 6.5 number. So I actually do think getting the Celtics at minus 6.5 is a pretty valuable bet. It's the Celtics' first home game in the series. They both, obviously, games 1 and 2 were in Miami. And the Celtics, I think they're just a better team when they have their full starting lineup. So even though the odds are slightly juiced towards the Heat in this one, minus 115, the Celtics are minus 105. I actually love the Celtics to cover this 6.5 point spread. I think they figured something out in game 2. They're just so well coached, such a good defense. And the Heat, aside from Jimmy Butler, really struggle to generate any offense. So this is going to be not quite a McSlam. McSlam for me is 125. This one I'm putting 100 on. But I still really do like the Celtics to cover this spread. So in terms of my prediction for the spread, I love the Celtics to cover. So now what I'm going to do is just add this to my bet tracker. I put $100 on it. And this bet tracker is something that OddsJam offers for free. It's actually an amazingly helpful tool, being able to track all your bets on one page. I wish I had this before when I first started sports betting. If you go to my home screen, the dashboard here, all of this information you see, it comes from the OddsJam bet tracker. So you can see I'm having the worst week that I've currently had since I started using OddsJam, down over $750. If it ends like this, it will be the worst week that I've ever had using OddsJam. Hopefully, I have a ton in pending bets, 1,700, closer to 1,800. Hopefully, some of these work in my favor, and I can make this 750 closer to 500, maybe even 400. Get my total profit back up over 12K because I was at like 12.6. Regardless, all this information comes from the OddsJam bet tracker. Tells you your ROI, which is great. Your percent you beat the closing line, which is just pulled from the OddsJam perfect line, the no vig odds. And then profit by sport. So obviously I've made a killing on basketball. Baseball, I'm still trying to figure out. So the tracked baseball bets have gone well. MLB up over $200, but every single bet I place with the MLB, I don't add to that spreadsheet because these are only, this spreadsheet is only public bets. I obviously make bets on my own time that aren't all public. So still trying to work out baseball, but regardless, all this stuff comes from the OddsJam bet tracker, so it's completely free to use. You just go to oddsjam.com, bet tracker. It's really nice. And the last thing I'll say about it, it auto grades all your bets for you. So this 1,800 in pending bets, OddsJam will auto grade them as won or lost. So for me, I mean, I got a ton of pending bets, as you can see, and it's nice the fact that I don't need to go in and manually mark them as won or lost. So even if you're not a subscribed member of OddsJam, I would 100% recommend getting on the OddsJam bet tracker. It's incredibly helpful as a sports bettor to understand whether you're profitable or not. So using the bet tracker is a good way to go about doing that. So for the spread, like I said, I'm taking the Celtics minus 6.5. The total, this total, I'm going to bet the under until I die. Looks like the under, even though it's gone over both times, it's still hovering roughly around the same number. I think game one was like 205, 205 and a half, 206. Game two, I'm pretty sure was exactly 207 and a half. This total started at 208. It's only been bet down a half point, but there's still a ton of money coming in on the under. So I think that this total will end up closer to 206, 206 and a half. Kind of my same logic for taking the Celtics. So even though I've been getting slammed, taking this to go under, I'm going to do it once again. They can't keep going over, right? Eventually, the odds have to work out in my favor. Now, to be clear, that's not a good way to go about sports betting. You shouldn't just say, well, eventually things will work out in my favor. But I do like this for basketball reasons. I like it for math reasons. I just have a hard time believing these defenses are going to continue to struggle as much as they have. Game one was the Celtics defense, but they were missing Smart and Horford. Game two was the Heat defense. They were uncharacteristically really sloppy, left a bunch of shooters open. And the Celtics also shot over 80% in the first quarter, and the game was kind of toast from there. So I do still really like this over. This is actually going to be a McSlam for me. Getting this to go under, I like this under 207.5, I think is a really good bet. So I'm going to lock this one in. I'm going to McSlam it yet again. I am once again betting on this game to go under. Place bet under 207.5. I'm not scared. I still love this game to go under. So that's my second bet for this game, my McSlam under 207.5. I put 125 on it. That is my McSlam amount. Click save. Now for any more of the niche plays like first half, first quarter player props, I mostly go off of the OddsJam positive expected value page. So let me refresh this. I'm going to Control F specifically for Heat Celtics because that's what I'm looking for. And I'm just going to go through and see what the plays are like. So Jimmy Butler over 7.5 rebounds. On first glance, I don't hate. Let's see what else we got here. So the Heat Celtics minus 8.5 actually is a plus EV play. I got them at 6.5. I don't hate them at 8.5 at plus 135 odds. It's within market with 17 cents. That would make it a 3% play for me. So my dog wants to say hi. So I'm actually going to lock this one in. I'm going to take the Celtics again. I'm going to take them at a second total. So it's pick your own spread. Celtics, it was minus 8.5, plus 135. I believe that was what it was. Perfect. This is a $75 bet for me, 3% of my bankroll. Let's see if it lets me place it. I know I was limited on PointsBet, so they don't always accept every bet that I try to place. So let's see how it goes. But yeah, obviously, I'm glad the math is behind me on betting on the Celtics. It was when I checked it earlier. The money where it's going was also in my favor, so it's good to see that as well. They're still going to review it. But while I am waiting for it to be reviewed, let me just see if they're... So this Jimmy Butler over 7.5 rebounds, I actually do like a lot. If we just look at Jimmy Butler's stats, I mean, obviously he's been incredible, right? He's been incredible back in the Sixers series. So he only had 6 in game 2. He had 9 in game 1. He had 8, 9. So getting him to go over 7.5, I do think is a good bet. 30 cents in market width is within range. So let's see. And they accepted my bet. PointsBet accepted it. So let me just go ahead and add this to my spreadsheet, or excuse me, my bet tracker, $75. Now, let's look more into this Jimmy Butler one. So added to my bet tracker, you see the check mark there. So Jimmy Butler over 7.5 rebounds. For player props, I like to look into the markets a little bit to see if I'm truly getting a positive expected value play. So let me open up Jimmy Butler in another tab. So player rebounds, I'm going to go to Jimmy Butler over 7.5. So the OddsJam line has it at minus 108. FanDuel has it at plus 112. Looks like every other book except for Caesars has it significantly closer to the OddsJam line, including PointsBet, which has it at even money. So this is actually a truly positive expected value bet. This is a true discrepancy, getting it on FanDuel at plus 112. So I'm going to put 3% of my bankroll on this one. Jimmy Butler to go over 7.5 rebounds, plus 112, I believe was the play. And everything looks good. So $75, good to go. So I'm going to cap that as all my plays for this game. So I got 4 total. Yeah, 4 total. I got 2 plays on the Celtics spread, one at minus 6.5, one at minus 8.5. I got the under going to under 207.5, and then I got Jimmy buckets to go over 7.5 rebounds. So now let me just add them all to Matt's bets, and then I will do a little bit of a recap, and I'll be on my way. All right, and now everything has been added to my spreadsheet. Celtics spread at 2 different numbers, minus 6.5, minus 8.5. Heat Celtics going under 207.5. And then my one player prop for this game, Jimmy Butler to go over 7.5 rebounds, plus 112 on FanDuel. And that's all I got for you. So if you're tailing these bets, I would love to hear it. You can hit me up at my Twitter handle that you see on the screen here. You can also let me know in the comments whether you're tailing my bets or not. Would love to hear it. Even if you're fading, you could still let me know. That's fine. I love all the interaction, good or bad. Other than that, would appreciate if you could subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel, and then go ahead and check out the OddsJam website. All the pages that you saw, except for the Plus EV one, is completely free to use. You can sign up for a free trial to use the Plus EV page, and then you can schedule a call with one of our sports betting experts, including myself, and we can go over everything any questions that you have about the software. But as far as this video goes, that's all I got for you. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.